Hello children, let me welcome you to the virtual class of the Brihan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika. My name is Shraddha teacher. Children, we are in the middle of this COVID-19 pandemic and because of that we are not able to go to school, but that doesn't mean we are going to stop learning. So we are going to do many lessons which are very interesting from your textbook through the virtual class here. So let us do a lesson in English today. So children, here I am back with a lesson in standard 10th English, and today we will not be doing a new lesson, but we will be continuing what we were doing last time. That is, we were doing the lesson 3.5 Unbeatable Supermom Mary Kom, and we talked in the first part of the video about the life of Mary Kom, how she began her life in a small place in India called as Manipur, and how she became famous as an international boxer by winning an Olympic medal. So in this video, it is part 2 of this particular lesson, Unbeatable Supermom Mary Kom. So in the previous lesson, we saw how above everything else, above being called a super boxer or a super woman or a super sports person, she loved being called as a supermom because she enjoyed this role of hers the best. And you can see here Mary Kom with her family, that is with her twin sons and her younger child. Okay, and also her husband is there in the picture for you. So we did certain exercises in the previous video in which we saw the names of all these people also who are standing here with her, that is her family. Now let us move on and let us also think quickly about what we did last time. We saw her journey from a small village in Manipur to the Olympic Stadium in London in the year 2012. So this was the part of the lesson that we covered last time. Now let us look at certain exercises from the English workshop part which are remaining. So we have mostly exercises based on vocabulary and grammar. So come on, let's start and then try to do as many exercises as possible today. So this is again a text-based exercise where you have to go through the text once again and you have to complete the sentences. So this I will again leave you to pause the video and read your textbook once again and then try and figure out the answers. I will reveal 5 answers to you and the remaining 5 you have to do it yourself. So the first question is, Mary Kom helped her parents with farm related work or farm related course. So she helped her parents with work on the farm. The success of Dinko Singh inspired many youngsters in Manipur to try boxing. So not only Mary Kom, but he inspired many other youngsters also in Manipur to give boxing a chance. Mary Kom made her debut at which place? At the Manipur State Women's Boxing Championship. So she started at the state level, then she went on to win a medal at the regional level, then national, and then finally international level. According to Mary Kom, we can get more gold medals if people take up sports as a full-time career. So if people start thinking that sports is not something which is part-time, that is you play sports on Saturdays or Sundays or when you have a holiday, that time you go out and play sports. If people take up sports as a full-time career, that is they devote all their time to sports, then we can get more gold medals. So this point takes us back to the lesson that we did previously, the will to win. So if you want to win, then you have to give all your time, energy to the particular thing. So that way, if you want to win more gold medals, then we will have to take up sports as a full-time career and devote whatever time we have at our disposal to sports. Mary Kom was able to increase her weight by, so what was the requirement? She was supposed to be in the higher weight category and she was in the 48 kg category, so she had to increase her weight by 3 kgs to reach the 51 kg category. So this is about some points in the lesson. Now if you read the textbook thoroughly, I'm sure you will be able to find out answers to the other 5 questions also. Moving on, let's go to the next exercise. So there are some acronyms here from the textbook. You have to go to the library or you have to search on the internet and you have to find their full forms. You cannot do the discussion work with your partner right now, you can discuss with your partner on the phone also, or on WhatsApp if you are connected with each other. So one of them is given for you, Olympic gold quest. So come on, try to find out the others and then check whether your answers match with mine. So what is IBN? Internet Business Network. IBN. What is MTV? Music, television, video. So all these words, all these acronyms you will find in this particular lesson. They are all related in one way or the other to Mary Kom's life. YPA is Yearly Plan of Action. AIBA IBA is Association International de Boxe Amateur. Then you have CNN, that is Cable News Network. Okay, so these are some acronyms or short forms and their full forms. Let's move on to the next exercise. So there is a small fact file about Mary Kom, where you have to write what her name was, what the name of her coach was, where was she from, and what was the things that she did in her early life. Okay, so all these things, what were her passions, what are her future plans, all this is based on the text. And we have already done so many exercises from the text that I'm sure you will be able to write these answers very quickly. Even then, let us do a few common ones. So full name is Chungjang Mary Kom. Then she's a native of Manipur. The remaining answers, please try and find out and fill it up. So this is a small assignment for you. As we have done so many exercises from the textbook already, I will not be going back and doing this one completely for you. So the remaining part is your homework or your assignment. Moving on, glance through the text and find the special qualities of Mary Kom. So this is again a web diagram where you're supposed to fill up what the special qualities of Mary Kom are. So Mary Kom was humble. That is one quality that we know. The other quality, she was a very patient person. Okay, she had a lot of shortcomings in life, but she was patient. She worked hard to get over those problems in her life. She was confident also, in spite of her humble background, that she would do something in life. And when people told her that boxing is not for women, she wanted to put her point through. She said she will show them. That means she had the confidence. She persevered towards her goal. She was dedicated in her work, and she was also a very extremely loving mother. So these are all the different qualities of Mary Kom which highlight her personality, not only as a sports person but also as a human being. Okay, moving on, let us try to rearrange these facts in order. Again, I will do a few for you. The remaining you have to try and do it yourself. So look at the facts. Mary Kom made her first appearance at the international level. She sparred. You know what is the meaning of sparring? Sparring means practicing boxing, okay, without actually landing the blows on the other person. So you're boxing, but you are not actually fighting, or you're not actually causing harm or actually coming in physical contact with the other boxer. You're just practicing. So she sparred with male boxers in Pune. Mary Kom won the Manipur State Women's Boxing Championship. She won a bronze medal in the 2012 Olympics. Mary Kom decided to take up boxing. So what do you think the first thing she might have done is? She decided to take up boxing. From there the story went forward. After that, in the second order place, you can say that she won the Manipur State Women's Boxing Championship. So she were at the state level, she won a championship, and then she moved on. Okay, she made her first appearance at the international level. So the remaining, read the textbook and try to arrange them as per the order which is there in the textbook. Moving on, this is an exercise based on vocabulary. The words have been picked up from the text, but then it is a vocabulary exercise where you will need the dictionary, where you will have to find out the meaning of these words, and then you will have to try to find out the sentences where the context of using these words will be correct. So I will be doing one example with you. The other example sentence you will have to write yourself. So debut. What is the meaning of debut? Debut means making a beginning. So let us look at the sentence with debut. He made his singing debut at a very young age. So he is a singer, but he started singing at a very young age. So the first song that he might have sung happened at a very young age when he was very small. Elation means happiness, a feeling of joy. Okay, so a bath in the Ganga gave him great spiritual elation. So spiritually he felt like he has been lifted to the next plane. He is very happy and he has got some kind of mental peace when he took a dip in the holy Ganga, when he bathed in the holy Ganga. Now we come to the next word, sponsor. Now this word can sometimes come as a noun and sometimes it can come as a verb also. So let us look at this example where it is a noun. He agreed to be my sponsor so that I could join the course. So here in this case, the sponsor word is in the form of a noun. He agreed to be my sponsor. Now sometimes it can be in the form of a verb also. So see, the radio station sponsored the concert. So here sponsored is in the form of a verb. So you will find out one more sentence where sponsor is noun and another sentence where sponsor is the verb. What about reinforced? Reinforcing something means to make it a strong, to strengthen something. So my example sentence would be, the bridge is reinforced with huge steel pillars. So the bridge has been given more strength using huge steel pillars. What about the next one? Humble surroundings. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam came from very humble surroundings. Humble means nothing, not very rich, not very affluent. Okay, someone who's a very common person with a very common surrounding, ordinary situation. Okay, so these are all one example sentences each. Writing one more example sentence is your assignment. Let's move on and do some more exercises in vocabulary. So you're supposed to find out the antonyms. Now what are antonyms? Antonyms means opposite words. The words which are given here, the antonyms, you will find in the text. So at the end of the day, children, the most important thing is reading the textbook well. If you read the textbook well, you will be able to figure out many answers which are given in the exercise. So arrogant, what is the opposite of arrogant? It is humble. So when you were in a lower class, we used to say opposite words and similar words, isn't it? As you grew up, we learned that it is antonyms and synonyms. Finally, what is the antonym? Initially, in the beginning, finally, towards the end. Depressed, cheerful. Someone who's depressed is sad, and someone who's cheerful is very happy. Disqualify is qualify. If you do something wrong, you disqualify, and then if you prove that you are fit for it, for the sport or for whatever, you qualify. Diffident is confident. If you're diffident, means you do not have enough of you can say confidence and you are a little bit unsure about what you want to do. Opposite of that is when you are confident. Float, sink. So we say wood floats on water and iron sinks in water. So something is floating and something is sinking. Okay, so these are the antonyms of the words that we found from the text. Let's move on to a very important part in this lesson now. This will take some time to understand. So you are supposed to underline the types of clauses. There is an exercise which is asking you to underline the types of clauses. So before you go directly to underline the types of clauses, I thought we should do a quick revision about what clauses are and what is the meaning of a main clause and subordinate clause and what are the types of subordinate clauses, so that when you do the exercise you have a little bit of a clarity. So let us start by understanding what is a clause. Now children, about clauses, main clause, subordinate clause, we have been learning so many times. In many of my videos we have mentioned and we have learned about clauses. So once again, take this as a revision, okay, because grammar is something which you keep forgetting. So if you revisit it again and again, your knowledge will become reinforced. So what is a clause? So by definition, a clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a predicate. So it is a group of words where there is a subject and there is a predicate. But again, clauses can be of different types. So let us see. There are two categories of clauses: the independent clause or the main clause. So a clause that can stand on its own. So it has a subject, it has a predicate, and it has full meaning, so it can stand on its own. You can say that it is a sentence. Okay? Then the other type of clause or the other category of clause is called as the dependent clause or the subordinate clause. Now these clauses cannot stand on their own. They do not have meaning. They derive their meaning from the independent clause. So when it is joined with an independent clause, we can say that the subordinate clause becomes meaningful. So let us now see what is main clause now. So what is a main clause? The main clause is sometimes also called as an independent clause. It should contain a subject and a verb, that is a predicate. The subject is involved in the action and the verb is the action which is being done. So in the main clause, it should have complete meaning. It should be independent. Okay, that is the main clause. Moving on to subordinate clause. A subordinate clause is also called as a dependent clause. It is dependent on what? On the main clause for its meaning. If there is no main clause, the subordinate clause will not be able to convey the message that it wants to. It does not express a complete thought. That is the reason we call it dependent, isn't it? Because it is not complete on its own. It does have a subject and a verb. See, a clause qualifies as a clause if it has got a subject and a verb. Otherwise, you cannot call it a clause at all. But it cannot stand alone as a sentence. Okay? So in the beginning itself, we saw every clause must have a subject and a verb. But a clause which has a subject and a verb and can stand on its own is a main clause. And the other one which cannot stand on its own or stand independently as a sentence is the subordinate clause. So see here, the example sentences: although I was scared, I carefully crossed the bridge. So see, I carefully crossed the bridge. When I'm saying this, it has got complete meaning. So that is the main clause. The part written in blue is a main clause. This part of the sentence is a clause as it contains a verb and a subject. It is a main clause as it makes sentence on its own. Okay, so I and crossed. There is a verb and there is a subject. What about the part of the sentence written in red? Although I was scared. So see, if I say although I was scared, you will ask what? Although you were scared what? That means although I was scared does not express complete meaning. Even though there is an I which is a subject and scared which is a verb. In spite of that, it does not make sense. That is why it is called as a subordinate clause. Alright, so now you know in one sentence how you can have the main clause and the subordinate clause. Let us look at some more examples of main clause and subordinate clause. I went to see the doctor because I was feeling unwell. So see, I went to see the doctor is the main clause. Because I was feeling unwell is the subordinate clause. I ran to the finishing line, main clause. As fast as I could, subordinate clause. Here is the boy, main clause. Who won the first prize? Subordinate clause. She ordered, main clause, for what she wanted, subordinate clause. So I want you to sit back, pause the video and read all these lines once again and try to figure out whether you can arrive at complete sense or you can derive complete sense from the subordinate clauses. Then you will be convinced about what the meaning of main clauses and what the meaning of subordinate clauses are. Now children, subordinate clauses are of different types because the lesson that we have, the exercise that we have in this lesson is asking us to identify the type of subordinate clause. That means subordinate clauses are of different types. Come on, let's see what kind of subordinate clauses are there. So you have adjective clause, you have adverb clause and you have noun clauses. Let us pick them up one by one and try to understand the meaning quickly. So adjective clause. Now you know what an adjective is? An adjective describes the noun. So an adjective clause is something which modifies or describes the noun or the pronoun. So if there is a clause, that is, if there is a group of words which describes the noun or the pronoun, then that is the adjective clause. So adjective clauses are closely related to adjective. When we say what is an adjective, it is something which describes the noun or the pronoun. In the same way, the adjective clauses also describe the noun or the pronoun. And adjective clauses always begin with these pronouns. That is, that, which, who, whom, whose, where, whoever, what. So these are the words which the adjective clauses begin with. So whenever you're trying to identify an adjective clause, you are supposed to look out for these relative pronouns. Okay? See, this is an example of an adjective clause. It is a dependent clause that functions as an adjective. The angry tiger snarled at me. So here, angry is the adjective which describes the tiger. Now, if I want to write it as an adjective clause, I will write the tiger that was angry. So again, see, what am I doing? I am describing the tiger. I am saying that the tiger is angry. Snarled at me. So it is a dependent clause. So see, you can also say the tiger snarled at me. So whatever is written in grey is the main clause. The tiger snarled at me. Main clause. Which tiger? So I am describing the tiger here. The tiger that was angry. So the angry tiger. Okay. So when I say angry tiger, it is adjective. When I say the tiger that was angry, is adjective clause. Okay. So I hope this idea is clear. We have done this previously also. So I will not dwell too much on the points. What is adverb clause again? So adverb clause modifies a verb or an adjective or another adjective. Adverb means it talks more about the verb or more about the adjective. So adverb clause also modifies the verb or the adjective. Adverb is a single word. Adverb clause is a group of words. So let us look at some examples. It begins with a subordinate conjunction about how, when, where, why, or to what extent. Okay, see, if Sam calls, please tell him that I will be late. So please tell him that I will be late is the main clause. If Sam calls, so this is the condition. Okay, when will you tell someone that I will be late? If Sam calls. We played in the garden till when? Until the sunset. Okay, though she was busy, Alice helped the young boy. Though she was busy. John went home after he finished his lunch. Okay, so these are all the adverb clauses. There are many types of adverb clauses as you saw in the previous image. So some is about time, some clauses are about reason, some clauses are about concession, result, place, purpose, manner, etc. Again, we will not go into 2 minutes of detail about this. Okay, I'm sure you know all this already. We have done this previously also. This is just a quick kind of revision so that your memory gets jogged. So we go to the third kind of subordinate clause, that is a noun clause. Now, a word which stands or a clause which stands in place of a noun or it takes the place of a noun is called as a noun clause. Or a group of words which act as the noun is called as a noun clause. For example, see here, pepperoni is fine with me. So pepperoni is a noun here. Okay, it is a subject of the sentence, pepperoni. Now, instead of saying pepperoni, I don't want to specify pepperoni, but I will say whatever you want is fine with me. So this whatever you want is the noun clause because it is acting like the noun here. The thing, noun means what? Name, place, animal, thing. So here you are talking about a thing without naming the thing, but you're saying whatever you want is fine with me. So this whatever you want is replacing the name of the thing. It is replacing the noun. Okay, that is why it is called as the noun clause. So children, these were the clauses, the meaning of clauses, the two types of clauses, and the type of subordinate clause. So this kind of revision quickly that we have done will help you in solving this particular exercise. So this is an exercise from your book. Underline the subordinate clause and state their kind. Enough has been said about this great warrior who conquered the world. So this is the subordinate clause. What kind of clause it is? It is the adjective clause. Who conquered the world? It is the adjective clause. Okay? You're talking about the great warrior. The male boxers kindly practiced with me whenever I required them. So here you're talking about the verb practicing. You're talking more about the verb practicing. So it is an adverb clause. The next, I think that more people should take up sports as a full-time career. This is a noun clause. You're talking about a full-time career. Okay? So it is a noun clause. It is replacing a noun. Moving on. Do you think nutrition is a neglected area in Indian sports? It is again a noun clause. You're talking about nutrition. That's the best thing that has happened to me. Adjective clause. You're describing something. Okay? India managed just 6 medals in 2012 Olympics, even though we are a nation of 1.3 billion people. Adverb clause. We're talking about winning medals. Alright children, so this is the exercise in your textbook about types of subordinate clauses. You have some more vocabulary exercises here. So pick out from the lesson the verb forms of. Qualification is actually it is a noun. You have to pick up the verb form from the textbook. So qualification, the verb form is qualify. Negligence, the verb form is neglect. So you neglect someone. So you're doing the work of neglecting. So that is a verb, the action. Company is accompany. Decisions is decide. Practice is qualify. Okay? Or you can still say practice. Birth is again birth, but the action of giving birth to. So these are the verbs or the verb forms from the lesson. You are supposed to pick up the noun forms here now. So represent becomes representation. Change will remain change. Prepare will become preparation. Achieve will become achievement. Aware will become awareness. Succeed will become success. Okay? So this was one more vocabulary exercise from the textbook, children. And now we have adjective forms. You're supposed to pick up the adjective forms of the nouns which are given here. Favor, favorable. Proportion, proportionate. Finance, financial. Nutrition, nutritious. Female, feminine. Addition, additional. Here there is nothing much to explain. You will have to pause the video and find out the answer like I always tell you. I do not like to repeat it again and again. I will say it once, this instruction in every video about pausing the video and finding out the answers on your own. Then we come to the last part where we have an assignment for you again. So imagine that you are captain of your team. Okay? You're captain of your cricket team in school. And a famous cricketer is going to visit your school. So you have to conduct an interview of the famous cricketer. So first, when you conduct an interview, what do? You ask questions which the other person will answer. But to ask a question, you will have to be prepared, isn't it? You need to know what questions you should ask. So if there is a cricketer who's coming in for the interview, will you ask a question about movies to him? That you will ask if you're interviewing a movie star. So you need to know what kind of questions should be asked. So for that you need to have a blueprint of the person's life. So you will prepare
a short questionnaire of 10 questions that you're going to ask that particular cricketer, and you're going to take help from all these points that you're given here. So you will ask the cricketer about his early life, about his interest in this field, about who his inspiration was, about who has coached him and given him guidance, and what are his achievements, that is, what all things has he achieved in the particular field of sports. And along with that, you will also ask him what that person wants to do in future. That is, now he is a famous cricketer, but he might be having some other plans when he stops playing. Okay, when he is old enough and he cannot play, then what will he do, and what is the advice that he will give to the youngsters. Okay, so you will have to prepare a questionnaire, and that questionnaire will help you to conduct this interview where you will be asking questions to famous cricketers. Alright children, so this was part 2 of the lesson Unbeatable Supermom Mary Kom. In this particular lesson, we did not focus much on the life of Mary Kom or on the contents of the lesson, but we did many exercises from the English workshop part. So that is all, and hope you have been able to understand the lesson, and also hope you learnt a lot from the grammar point and vocabulary exercises that we discussed here.
So children, now you have watched the video. So after you watch the video now, you will have to complete a few simple tasks. Now you might have watched the video on your computers or your laptops or your mobile phones. Now after you watch the video, what will you do? You will please go to the description box which is given below the video. So what is the description box? See, the description box looks like this. Alright, and after you go to the description box, you will see that there are a few questions there. Now what are these questions about? These questions are about the lesson that we just learned or the video that you just watched. So what will you do? You will think back properly about the lesson and you will try and answer these questions, and note down the answers in your notebook if you want. Okay? After that, we have another task waiting. You will also click on the link which you will find in the description box to fill up the Google form. So now what is the Google form, children? It is nothing but a simple form. There are a few simple questions there about the video which you just saw and also about yourself. So these are the tasks now that you will have to complete after you watch each video. So children, wasn't that a very interesting lesson? I'm sure you learned a lot of new things in this lesson. If you have liked this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe to my video so that you will get to see all the videos which I keep posting regularly.